You know that feeling, right? You pick up your phone for just a second, and then an hour disappears. You've been scrolling and you're not even sure why. Well, what if I told you that's not an accident? That social media is actually designed to hook your brain, using some of the same pathways as addiction.
Yeah, I know. It sounds a little dramatic, doesn't it? Is your phone the new drug? But stick with me, because in this explainer, we're going to dig into the brain chemistry and the psychological hooks to see if there's any truth to it. And more importantly, we'll talk about how you can stay in control. So, how can we even make that comparison? Well, it all boils down to this one tiny but incredibly powerful chemical messenger running around in your brain. You've definitely heard of it, dopamine.
So, dopamine is basically your brain's reward system. It's the feel-good chemical. When you do something that your brain likes, say, eating a fantastic meal, it releases a little bit of dopamine. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, that was awesome. Let's remember to do that again. It's a totally natural survival mechanism.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Different things can hijack this system. Hard drugs, they cause a massive, unnatural spike in dopamine, which is a huge part of what makes them so dangerously addictive. Now, a like on social media, it's a much, much smaller hit. But, and this is the key, it's a small, frequent hit that's always just a tap away. It's the constant, easy access that makes it so potent. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this actually works on your brain. It all builds into this really powerful feedback loop that basically trains your brain to crave these little digital rewards. Just think about the cycle for a second. You post something, you wait, then you hear it. That little ping, a notification. Someone liked your photo, someone commented, and boom, you get that tiny little hit of dopamine. It feels good. So what do? You check again, and again, and again. You're creating a compulsion to keep seeking out that feeling. And you have to understand, none of this is happening by accident. Not a single bit of it. Social media platforms are meticulously designed, using specific features that tap directly into our psychology to keep us hooked. Let's break down a few of the big ones.
First up, it's instant. Unlike a real-world goal that might take weeks or months of patience and hard work, a quick scroll gives you an immediate buzz. There's always a new video, a fresh photo, another piece of info waiting for you. Zero delay. Total instant gratification.
And then, of course, it's endless. The infinite scroll is a genius and kind of diabolical invention. There's no bottom of the page, no back cover to tell you you're done. The algorithms are constantly learning exactly what you like, serving you up a bottomless buffet of content it knows you won't be able to resist.
Then there's the big one, FOMO, the fear of missing out. This creates this constant low-level anxiety when you're not connected. It's that nagging feeling that if you don't check in, you're going to miss some critical piece of news, an inside joke, something important. It's basically a digital form of withdrawal.
And finally, let's be real, it taps into our need for validation. We're social creatures. We are wired to seek approval from the tribe. Every like, every share, every positive comment is a little digital pat on the back. It satisfies that deep-seated human need and keeps us coming back for more. Okay, so a little dopamine from a like here and there, what's the big deal, right? Well, when you add it all up, this constant cycle of engagement can have some pretty serious and not so hidden costs for our mental health.
Heavy use of social media is being linked more and more to some really tough outcomes. We're talking about higher rates of anxiety and depression, a totally fractured ability to focus, and even messed up sleep. And just like with a substance, your brain can start to build a tolerance, meaning you need more and more engagement just to get that same little buzz.
And hey, this isn't just us guessing. The research is starting to paint a really clear picture. For example, a major study from 2019 in The Lancet, a top medical journal, found a direct link between the amount of time teens spend on social media and their struggles with mental health. And this breaks down why this happens so perfectly. You're scrolling in bed at night, that blue light from your screen is telling your brain it's daytime, disrupting the melatonin that helps you sleep. Trying to work while also checking your phone, that constant switching back and forth creates what they call mental whiplash, and it just shreds your ability to focus deeply. And seeing everyone's perfect, curated highlight reels, it's almost impossible not to fall into the trap of social comparison, which can make you feel totally inadequate.
And maybe the biggest paradox of it all is this. These platforms that are supposedly built for connection can actually make us feel more alone.
All the time and energy spent curating an online version of ourselves can take away from the time we spend on real, deep, meaningful relationships in the actual world.
Okay, that was a lot of doom and gloom, I know. But listen, the goal here is not to scare you into throwing your phone in a river. It's about being aware and using these tools with intention. So the big question is, how do we take back control?
All right, here's a game plan. Simple, actionable things you can do. First, set limits. Use the tools built right into your phone to set a hard time limit for certain apps. Second, try a detox. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Give your brain a break from the constant pings. Third, schedule time for offline hobbies that give you a natural dopamine boost. Fourth, curate your feed. Be ruthless. Unfollow any account that makes you feel bad about yourself. Fifth, before you open an app, just pause for 1 second and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And finally, protect your sleep. Make your bedroom a no-phone zone for at least an hour before you go to bed.
Look, the most important takeaway here is that you are not powerless. Yes, these apps are designed to be compelling, but just being aware of how they work is the biggest step. By setting some boundaries and being a little more intentional, you absolutely have the power to break the cycle. You can reclaim your time and your focus for the things that actually matter to you. So let's bring this all home. The bottom line is, these apps can and do hijack our brain's reward system, but the power to manage that relationship is, quite literally, in your hands. The next time you feel that little twitch, that automatic reach for your phone, just try to pause for 1 single second. And ask yourself this question. What are you really scrolling for right now? Are you bored? Are you anxious? Are you looking for a quick distraction or maybe a little ego boost? Understanding your why is the absolute key to using these incredibly powerful tools on your terms, not theirs. It's a question worth thinking about,